Semi-final time in the cheap lager championship. Let's have a look at the table. So here's the table from the quarter-final stage onwards, and the Crown was the first one to take its place in the semi-finals, which beat the Cause very, very easily, to be honest. And then the Cold Beer Lager moved in against the Galahad to set up the semi-final matchup against the Crown. Then in the third matchup we had the Ashfield Lager, which ended up just beating the Excelsior, but it was really, really close because they were both pretty good beers. So the Ashfield has taken its place in the semi-finals, and if you remember in the last matchup we had the Bière Deluxe, which secured the final semi-final spot by beating the Carters. So now we're going to do the first semi-final matchup, which is between the Crown Lager from Sainsbury's. This has done pretty well, and in the semi-finals we've actually got two supermarket own brand lagers, which is interesting. And that is up against this one, the Brewdog Cold Beer Lager. Slightly different type of lager than the other ones in the championship, but it is 4 cans for less than a fiver, and it is 3.4% ABV, so it is in the championship. But how's the Crown Lager going to do? I do like a nice traditional lager taste, and if I've got a nice lager, nice traditional lager, which has got a really nice lager taste, it is going to beat a crafty lager, which just happens to have quite a bit of taste because it's a crafty lager. And that is what this is. This is a crafty lager. It's got some nice different taste. It's an enjoyable drink. Let's just put it like that. And I remember the Crown Lager being an enjoyable drink as well. I mean, both of these are pretty decent. So without further ado, I'm going to get tasting them. I'm going to see what I like. So let's get them out into glasses. Beers poured, and they had slightly different heads when they were poured. One was a bit creamier head than the other one. They both dissipated incredibly quickly. That head did not last at all. It had about a 1 finger white head when it was poured, and literally within the last minute it's gone down to that. This one had a slightly bigger head, actually almost 2 fingers, and that's gone down quite quickly as well. So interesting, very, very interesting. As usual, I don't know which is which out of these two. But for those of you who want to know at home, this is which one is which. Okay, that was which one was which. Right, let's start looking at them. So looking at the beers, they both look similar, colour-wise actually. This one's got more bubbles rising to the top than this one. I'd say this one's a little bit lighter maybe, but not noticeably. Interesting. This one's got better head retention, but only marginally better. Yeah, I mean, there you go. That's all there is to say about them. They're both crystal clear. I think they're both crystal clear. As I say, there's bubbles rising up in both of them, but more rising up on this one. So let's go in for a nose. They're cold, but they're not too cold, these beers, so this might be a brilliant temperature to taste them. Let's see. So yeah, get a nice malty, hellusy aroma on this one, but many of the beers I've tried so far have had a decent aroma. It's the taste that lets them down. A little bit citrusy, something a little bit mushroomy in there as well, which I sometimes get from some lagers. I remember getting it from the Menabrea. It's not necessarily a bad thing, just adds to that rustic maltiness, but there is something a little bit mushroomy in the smell as well. A little bit syrupy, a little bit sweet. Smells alright. Smells alright. Let's have a smell on this one now, see what this one's like. Oh, that is different. Not as much of an aroma on this one. So yes, that one smells. Bit of malt, bit more citrus. A bit of like tea. Like a drink of tea. Yeah, it's almost like a smell of tea. I mean, I know what this one is now. Because I'm getting that smell of kind of melted ice cube that I talked about last time, or something like. Was it this one? I'm pretty sure it was this one where I basically said if you put a beer in the freezer and it goes all icy and then it'll melt, the ice melts inside the beer, and it just changes the flavour ever so slightly. I'm getting that from the nose. Well, I am getting like a tea, like an English breakfast tea kind of smell from it, which is possibly a smell I've had from it before, but something that I haven't been able to put my finger on. But that's it. It's just taking me to that. Kind of like like a tea smell. Weird. Anyway, there you go. So that's that. So that's got quite a complex aroma, quite an interesting aroma. I'm not sure I'm a big fan of the aroma. This one, much more traditional lager vibes on that one. It's going to be an interesting one, this. I know which one's which out of this, but I really don't know which one's going to win. I think I know which one's which anyway. We'll see on the taste, though. Let's do the taste. Bit of a swill. Cleanse my palate. Here we go. This one. Cheers. Light in the flavour, but the flavour it's got is quite nice. It's crisp, it's clean, it's refreshing. There's a bit of bitterness in there. And I'm not sure if this is one I said where I got a bit of an aftertaste. There is a little bit of just a kind of wafery aftertaste there, which is nice. Always nice to have a good finish. Let's try this one now. Right, I'll have a good go on this one. Cheers. There's something seasidey, like beachy, about this lager. Maybe it's that kind of ice cubey kind of taste, almost like an ice lolly. Have I mentioned? I'm sure I've mentioned ice lollies before. Was it referring to this beer, possibly? But it does make it taste a bit watery. So both of these have got some kind of flavour. This does almost taste like a beer that had some flavour, and something's happened to it which has made it more watery. Almost like you put ice cubes in it, and you poured a glass of this and put ice cubes in it to make it nice and cold, and the ice cubes have melted into the drink and made it weaker. That's almost what it tastes like. You get a craft lager, 5% craft lager, you put some ice cubes in it, and then the ice cubes melt. And this is exactly what this tastes like, really. Now, I'm not a massive fan of beers that taste like they've been watered down. I mean, obviously it's not been watered down. It will have been brewed, actually brewed to 3.4%. And they've done a very good job, I think, of getting a beer that's interesting. It's got a bit of flavour to it, and it's nice and refreshing. Certainly for that kind of price, at 3.4%. But I don't know, my standards are going up now. Now into the semi-finals, my standards are going up, and I am being more critical of these two beers than I have been previously, because previously these two beers have been up against rubbish. Apart from with the Excelsior, for the cold beer, which is this one, by the way, just to let you know. This is definitely the cold beer. This is definitely the Crown, but that's got a nice whack of bitterness, this one. It's nice and crisp. Some of that maltiness, some of them helless flavours are in the taste. Very, very light indeed. But the taste that's there is nice. It's nice. So, getting a bit of an aftertaste there. Yeah, there is. I'm not sure it was this one where I said it had a bit of a Kronbackery Warsteinery aftertaste to it. I'm not quite getting that with this, but I am getting a little bit of a shortbread biscuit kind of aftertaste. It's not bad. There is something quite generic in the taste, but there is also another kind of level, a little bit of a level of complexity as well as that. So you're getting that generic lager flavour, but you're also getting a little bit of something else. There's a little bit of something else there that's saying, you know, this is not just your bog standard lager. But I think I'm starting to think the cold beer lager has gone about as far as it can go. Its craftiness has taken it a long way. I think I thought it could be a potential winner. I'm starting to like the flavour less each time I have it. I think that melted ice cube flavour in the taste is just. I can't put a beer like that as the champion or in the final really. I mean it's interesting. It's different. But it's not a lager. It's not comparable with the others, I don't think, and I'm not enjoying it as much as this one. So from a quality standpoint, it's not comparable with the others. It's always been a bit of an outsider right through the competition because it's got those kind of crafty vibes. It's supposed to be kind of a crafty thing. It's Brewdog trying to create a particular type of drink, and I think they've done a really good job doing it. It gives you a reason to buy it, and I would always recommend this. It's a good beer. It's a good price. If you want a fridge filler for not much price, it's decent. I like the can art as well. It doesn't look cheap. It looks like a nice beer, and it tastes like a nice beer, and it's interesting, and it's brilliant for in the garden, in the sun, at a barbecue, whatever you want. To me, it just tastes kind of watered down. It tastes ice cubey. I think it may have run its course now. The Crown, it's got more bitterness. If you like a bit of bitterness, this is crisper. It's drier. It's got more bitterness. It's not absolutely full of flavour, but I think the flavour of this one that's dominating is that kind of melted ice cube flavour. It's not the flavour of the beer. That's almost like, well, that's not almost like, but it's almost like putting a bit of, just to simplify it, just put a bit of lime in this, just putting a shot of lime in this and saying, oh, there you go, it tastes of lime, it's got flavour. Do you know what I mean? That's what we're talking about here. You could put something in a beer and make it taste like it's got more flavour. Now, I'm not saying they'd put things into this to make it have flavour. I'm just saying if the main flavour of the beer is not beer, then that can't be a positive. And as far as I'm concerned, that doesn't count as flavour. I'm not getting a huge amount of beer flavour from this. It's got a really nice aftertaste though. It has got a good aftertaste. There's a little bit of bitterness. I do like the aftertaste, really good aftertaste. I do like that. Whereas the Crown, it's a bit generic, but it's dry. It's got a little bit of bitterness. Yeah, it's got a nice little kind of Pilsner aftertaste to it, and I do think it's certainly better than the price would suggest, and I do like that bitterness. That bitterness is not an unpleasant bitterness. If you do like a little bit of bitterness in your lagers, that has got a nice bit of bitterness. Bit unbalanced. The bitterness does override some of the other flavours a bit, which is a shame. But I know when this was up against the Feldschlossen, this wasn't as bitter as the Feldschlossen, but it's not bad. And I'm getting a bit of that nice aftertaste there. It's good when a beer's got a nice aftertaste. And again, this one, it's nice. It's like a novelty beer. It'd be very interesting if this one went through to the final. I went up against one of the other two in the final. I gotta say. But again, it would be one where I would totally know which one this is. So I'm thinking about routes moving forward. If I put this up, I think in the final this would win for the same reasons that it would win now, if that makes sense. So yeah, it has got a lot of flavour and a nice aftertaste. I think that is a result of the craftiness of it. I'm not a massive fan of the flavour, if I'm perfectly honest. It's not very lagery. It's, as I say, it's more melted ice cube and kind of sitting by the beach with a weakened kind of lager flavour, or a weakened beer. Not even particularly lager. It could be a weakened bitter. Also, well, maybe not a bitter, but you know, it could just be like a weakened generic thing. It could be like a Corona with some ice cubes melted in it and a bit of don't know, citrus to make it a bit, I don't know. Whereas this is, this is just a decent lager. It's just or half decent. It's a half decent lager for a really cheap price. That's what I would say. It's not going to win any awards. It wouldn't stand much of a chance, I don't think, against things at a higher price point. Even things like Tyskie and stuff like that are better than either of these two beers. They're just a different league, really. But that's not the point. We are in the cheap lager championship, and what can I say? They've been able to make a fairly decent craft lager for a really cheap price, which is good. Well done, Brewdog. But this is going through. It's got a lovely nose to it as well, and the nose can't be. I'm waffling now, but I don't care. The nose can't be overlooked, because really appreciating a good beer is smelling it as well, and the smell that comes when you put it up to your lips before you drink it. It's quite funny. Well, not quite funny, but last night I had some wine. I had some Côte de Rhône. I like a good wine, nice red wine. I had some Côte de Rhône, and I actually spent more time. Well, I spent quite a lot of time just smelling the wine. Just sat there smelling the wine. I had as much enjoyment just smelling the wine, just the memories that it invoked, just the places it took me, just smelling that wine, and the nose I just loved it, and then the taste was great as well. But just smelling that wine, I sat there for quite a while just smelling it and not actually drinking any of it, because the nose is very important. I do say when it's all about the taste at the end of the day, but, and that's the first time I said at the end of the day. I hope there are some people who are playing drinking games with my videos, by the way, every time I say it at the end of the day, because I do say it an awful lot, and it's fun to think that we're maybe playing a drinking game with that. Yeah, the nose is very important, but it is about the taste, when all's said and done. So, this is what's happening. Brewdog cold Brewdog cold beer. What an aftertaste! I just had a tiny sip then. Great aftertaste. I love that aftertaste. It's really nice. But I think as a beer, it's just not. It's not getting into the final. I'm going to give this one a stab at the final. It'd be very interesting to see how it does. I know the other two beers, Ashfield is very similar to this. If this ends up going up against Ashfield in the final, that'd be a really interesting final. The Beer Deluxe, I know that as well. It's got a lot of flavour, but it is. It's in an acquired taste flavour. I mean, it's got a bit of banana in there. So that'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see what I prefer out of the Ashfield and the Beer Deluxe. And then if this goes up against the Beer Deluxe in the final, that'll be really interesting as well. If that goes up against the Ashfield, then that'll be battle of the supermarket budget lager. That'd be really interesting. So I'm starting to get excited about this championship now. But it's like I'm doing my final thing to camera. And I've not actually been officially told which is which yet. So I'll tell you what, I'll come back when I know which is which, and we'll just do a little bit at the end. So yeah, massive anticlimax. I was right, obviously. This is the Crown. And it's not bad. It's got a lovely bit of bitterness. If you like a bitter lager, that is bitter. And yeah, cold beer. It's an acquired taste. It's different. I would always recommend getting this. It is so different from anything else you can get at any price point, really. I mean, if you don't count things like Rudgate Pilsner and the Westmorlander Pilsner and all those kind of ones that you can get from booze and stuff, you go to your local Tesco, you will not find anything that tastes quite like this. It is different. It is unique. In normal supermarkets, everyday supermarkets, your Morrisons, Sainsbury's, Aldi, Tesco, you will not. This is unique amongst all other beers, I think. For that reason, it's worth getting, especially considering it's such a cheap price. And it's a really good beer. But, as I've said before, this is as far as that's getting. It's not getting any further now. The cold beer lager, I do like it. It is unique, but I think we would just want to find out what the best cheap lager is. And really, when we're looking at cheap lagers, we're thinking of those kind of things. Your Carling, your Fosters and stuff like that. And I think really we can't compare something like cold beer lager to those things anyway. But as I say, cold beer lager, I didn't like it as much as this anyway. I prefer this. And I think the cold beer lager's uniqueness was kind of riding that uniqueness through the championships. But it's only ridden it so far. This Crown Lager, I'm drinking it from the can now. I'm really enjoying this. It's nice. I can't decide which I prefer out of this and the Ashfield. So if the Ashfield gets through to the final, we're in for an interesting final. Let's say no more about that. Anyway, can't wait to do the other semi-final. I might even do it again tonight, but I won't release it obviously on the same day. But we will see. I'm going to do it very soon. I'll probably release it very soon as well. Yeah, I'm actually getting excited. I'm actually getting excited about this championship. It's brilliant. Anyway, no more waffling. Not taking up any more of your time. Till next time. Have a good one.